All right. The live stream is booting up here. And we should be all set there. I'll get the recording started and we'll be off to it. Let's do it. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the BeatCancer.Org Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach weekly call. The date is October the 9th of 20. God, what year are we in? Who knows? 2025, 2026. It's all frozen in time. Yeah, we're in 2026 here. And are we? Is my mind just going crazy right now? Yeah.
It's the 2025, yeah. Yeah.
2025. Oh, I guess I'm in the future then. And here we are gathered again for our weekly call to discuss matters of holistic health and healing and cancer healing and prevention. We have some wonderful holistic cancer coaches certified by our program here on the call with us. We have some guests, some regular friends of the organization, and we have all of our friends, of course, on social media, on Facebook, YouTube. Nope, I don't think we're on YouTube right now.
We,
Facebook.
wow. I thought,
Oh,
well,
we are back at,
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
we are back.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Facebook, YouTube, rumble.com, and X. And yeah, we're here to have another good time and learn a thing or two and have some fun. So, some quick housekeeping. As a reminder, all nothing said on this call is intended to be taken as explicit medical advice. We're not here to diagnose nor prescribe anyone's particular circumstance. We're here to chat about educational matters and perspectives, and all people are encouraged to take their health into their own responsible hands and consult with whomever is appropriate to consult with as needed. Please, for the sake of the audio, keep yourself on mute at all times. Besides when you are speaking, people are welcome and encouraged to speak. This is a participation-driven meeting. We welcome questions and comments or anything, as a topic of discussion. There will be moments where we ask someone to share a topic, and there'll be times where we open the mic for discussion of whatever topic is on the table. And you are welcome to grab the mic and share with us your thoughts at those times. If you don't find one of those opportunities, you are also welcome to put your comment or question in the chat section of the Zoom at any point in time, and we'll get to addressing everything in the chat as quickly as possible in the order that we see things come in. The same goes for our friends watching on social media. We'll be monitoring those chats as well, and you can put your comment or question right in the chat on social media, wherever you're watching, and we'll be sure to address those comments and questions as we see them as well. And another option for our friends right here on the Zoom. Another option for our friends right here on the Zoom is to use the raise hand feature. It'll look like this in the little corner of the screen, and that will let us know that you have something that you'd like to share. If you're not able to find the button to raise your hand on Zoom, you can also do it the old-fashioned way by raising your hand. If you raise your hand for a couple seconds, chances are that we will see you, and you could then put your hand back down, and we'll get to you as soon as possible as well. So that about wraps it up for opening remarks and housekeeping. I'm Zachariah Frank, COO of BeatCancer.Org. I'm going to turn it over to Carl, Mr. CEO of BeatCancer.Org, for any other opening remarks while I check on the health of the live stream, and I'll be back with you shortly.
And if you don't know who we are or where you are, this is BeatCancer.org, Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach Zoom call. That is also streamed live. Um, BeatCancer.org is a 48-year-old organization. We've been counseling cancer patients and their caregivers on prevention, ways to cope with, and how to prevent recurrence of cancer through non-toxic and immune boosting approaches. All that time, we have hundreds of testimonials right on our website from over the years that are actually handwritten. We blacked out the the last names and any identifying um, information for their privacy, but the first names are there. And you can see all the wonderful testimonials over the years that we've collected, and we are currently collecting a lot more. So you are in the right place. This is a great family and community here, this call. And typically the chat becomes very active. So if there's any links mentioned, any phone numbers mentioned, any anything that's noteworthy, and people want that link, it'll be in the chat. So if you're on social media, you can, if you want to join the call and join that chat and get all those wonderful links, you can go to our website, and right at the top, there's only 5 buttons there at the top. So we make it super, super easy to find. It says weekly call. You just click on that button, it takes you to a page, and then you just click join the call. So easy. That's we make it very easy for everybody. And I think that is it for me. Well,
Awesome, awesome. Yep. Well, thank you very much for that opening, Carl. Yeah, we do encourage our friends on social media to join us on the call. I was just screen sharing a moment ago, demonstrating how to get there. For anyone that's not familiar, we do these calls every single week, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Thursday. And then the Zoom link is the exact same every single week. So super easy to join us. And I believe that is all housekeeping out of the way. And let us get off to the good stuff. So it is now that time where the microphone is open and up for grabs. Again, this is a participation-driven call. We encourage anyone with anything on their mind, and I imagine people have something on their mind. Otherwise, I don't know. What are you doing here? To grab the mic, we encourage everyone to grab the mic and let us know what topic of discussion anyone would like to discuss. So I'll look for some raised hands, and if we don't see any, we'll just start calling on people because something's floating around in those wonderful brains of yours, and we want to know what it is so we can all learn. Um, so yeah, opportunity is open. If anyone would like to pitch a topic, I see Angela coming on camera. Is there possibly something that she'd like to share? We have a hand up. Awesome. I'll go ahead and ask you to unmute on your Zoom browser, and Angela, and we'd love to hear from you. What's on your mind tonight?
Hello, good evening. Thank you. I'm fairly new. I've sat in on about 3 of these meetings, I guess, and I'm just starting my search or my research, I guess you might say. And today I had an interview with a couple of providers, and I wondered what anyone had to say about the oxygen, what's it called? I wrote the wrong thing here. Oh, the hyperbolic chamber
Hyperbaric.
and hyperbaric. Okay. And he was telling me that you can come like 1 day a week. It will take forever and, not as fast and not as sure. But what they suggest is 5 days a week for 3 months. And that's like, okay. I just wonder if anybody has anything to say about that. I know what the system is, the hyperbaric chamber, and I hear that it's supposed to be excellent, but what about the intensity? Has anyone experienced that or looked into it further?
Hmm.
I would say just right off the rip that you know somebody's giving you a program 5 days a week for how many months? 3 months.
Great. Mhm.
I know that's not cheap, number one, and number two, I don't know where they came up with that number. It's not my area of expertise.
Number of days, you mean? Or
Yeah,
number of
number of days and duration, how many months, things like that. But yeah, I would definitely look for second opinions on that for other
uh,
people doing the same thing.
The doctor that sent me to find out about this place said 1 day a week. But when I get there, he says 5 days a week. And they've got the hyperbaric chamber. They've got CBD, only it's not CBD, it's some other kind of heavy duty marijuana treatments. Um, and a Rife machine. They use a number of Rife frequencies and six different parasite meds. One for a week, and next for a week, next for a week, and next for a week is their total program. And it's pretty involved. And my being a newbie, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what I have to move out of my apartment for 3 months and sit down here, and they want you to eat, they'll give you a diet and then, all this stuff. So it's kind of
Yeah.
a it's kind of a thing. I mean, I'm in Mexico and it's 40,000 pesos for the programs and then more for the living there and the food.
Yeah, I think without knowing this particular location and
Yeah,
fully assessing the
right.
scenario, it is difficult to speak to specifics, but we can address some generalities, right? And let's all be smart. Of course, when something is someone's business, there is incentive for them to um, convey the necessity or importance for someone to do more or more or more. Now, that doesn't mean that they are not acting in integrity. They very well could be. I have no, knowledge of who these people are, so nothing I'm about to say is allegation or accusation against any particular institution or individual. That said, of course, we do live in the world where some institutions and individuals might, without integrity, recommend the maximum service that they provide, of course, because it's beneficial to them. So it's always important to do independent and individual research on a topic to have an understanding of what you might or might not partake in. So you're an informed consumer and you can make sure that you're not taken advantage of, and you can help see if that individual or institution you're working with is, the with integrity type or not. That said, there is something to be said for more is more sometimes, right? If you just eat well 1 day a week, but you eat junk and garbage 6 days a week, well, you're probably going to be less healthy overall than if you eat healthy 5 or 6 or 7 days a week. So sometimes more is more, sometimes more isn't necessary. Again, I'm just putting all the generalities out there because we don't know of this, specific instance or circumstance or
Mm.
protocol or what have you. So I just want to put out there that, those generalities, and I'm going to check out the chat section to see, what anyone else has to say. I
Now,
see some of our very
on the flip side, 40,000 pesos is
$2,000.
cheap compared to doing
Yeah,
hyperbaric. You wouldn't even be able to afford 3 or 4 weeks in hyperbaric chamber
right.
for
And the
that.
hyperbaric chamber includes Rife frequencies.
Say that again.
very
The hyperbaric chamber time includes Rife frequencies.
Right, right. It includes everything else. Right, exactly. I'm just saying,
very
just
cool.
for the hyperbaric in America would
So
be.
it's not the money so much that I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, understood, understood.
I don't understand that he's telling me that oxygen is super healing. And the more the better. And if you can have it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you'd be well in a month or whatever. Uh, but so that's what he's recommending. Like I said, my doctor that sent me there said, not that she suggested, she gave me several things to look into, and that was the first one I looked into. And she said
Awesome.
the hyperbaric maybe once a week because she knows I live out of town and whatever.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, we happen to have the privilege of having two of our very research-oriented intellectuals on the call with us. So now is the time where I call out their shy selves in the order that I see them in the chat. So I'm going to welcome a Harmonious Monday to the call, to the mic, if he'd like to grab it, because I see he shared a resource that he's curated in the chat. So if he'd like to grab the mic and share any thoughts on the topic overall, or share a little bit more about what that link he sent was. I welcome him to the mic.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Welcome, everyone. Um, I happen to have, as I provided mine, I also looked at Leonard's, and I agree a lot with what Leonard is also saying here, too. So I'd start by saying that oxygen therapy, in my opinion, would be useful, but I would never look at oxygen therapy as a cure-all. Well, in fact, we know this from every meeting we have. We're all saying the same thing. Like, you don't want to focus on what I call narrow therapeutics or miracle cures, especially coming from the source of the provider. We have to be always cognizant of the fact that it is their therapy and they are going to promote the heck out of it. Um, that being said, I can't speak specifically to this topic other than, if you want, Zach, I'm always hesitant to do this because I never want to. I'm always very mindful of time. But if you want me to share my screen real quick, I can show something about why my links might be helpful to people. But I don't want to do that if we don't have time for that.
Yeah, go for it. Well, time is infinite, my friend. It never stops. So let's go ahead and see what you got.
Okay. How do I do how do I do that?
So assuming
Let
you're on a laptop or a desktop
PC
computer,
full PC, yeah.
yep. So if you move the mouse around the Zoom window and go to the bottom like menu bar, the menu
Okay.
bar might not appear until you move your mouse onto the Zoom screen. In
Got it.
those buttons down there, they should see one that says share.
I see it. Okay.
The big bright green one.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Now let me just bring this over. I've got to do one quick thing. I apologize. I've always hesitated to do this because I'm not good at it, number one, and but it's necessary to, I think, emphasize why I think my links might be helpful. It's hard to decipher my work is what it really boils down to. Um,
Oh, let's find out. And we don't
yeah.
get by we only get good
Yeah.
by doing things. So let's
Let's
get
do it. Let's do it. And I will keep it as concise as I possibly can, I promise.
I trust you will.
So let me pop over here, pop over to share. And then pop in here. I think I'm about to do the right thing. I think.
All right, we'll
Here we
find out.
go. Get ready, people. Here we go.
There we go. It worked.
All right, let's
Did
see
it?
what we're seeing.
Did it work? Okay.
Yep, looking at a Reddit search of oxygen.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I just want to quickly show you that if you go to alternativecancer.com or Reddit, I have a Reddit group for 13 years called Alternative Cancer. I right at the top of, as the years have gone by, I've realized that I want to, my goal is to speed people's research. Okay. I want to be a research accelerator for people. And I want to do this based on quoting patients, doctors, and science. I don't want to be, I know this sounds kind of ridiculous, but I don't want to color the information. I want to deal with specific quotes from people directly. So again, this quick search right here on page 1, you drop down and you can search for anything you want and read quotes. Okay. In this particular case, I realized that I don't have, at this moment, because I'm not updated, I don't have the word oxygen, but watch me do this. I'm coming over to the right-hand side, if you can see that. Oxygen. I'm going to hit enter. Now you're going to look at 13 years worth of quotes directly from, here's one from BeatCancer.org, by the way, right there. Okay, hyperthermia, oxygen. Okay, but if you scan through this, you'll see down here hyperbaric oxygen is also mentioned right here. For instance, hyperbaric oxygen. What I like to do in the case of the question that's being asked is to legitimize the connection between oxygen and cancer, be it hyperbaric or any other, or exercise at home, or something called HBOT, or I'm sorry, something called exercise with oxygen. I forgot what they call that. Um, but just I want to reinforce the idea that doctors, patients, and science, because that's my focus, doctors, patients, and science have beyond any doubt proven to me and hopefully to anyone else who looks at this, there is a direct connection between oxygen and cancer. Cancer doesn't like a high oxygen environment. When you go into hyperbaric, you're going into a chamber where they slightly elevate your whole body is inside the chamber. They slightly elevate the therapeutic oxygen so that it goes through the body, it goes through the pores of the skin and saturates, depending on duration of therapy and pressure used, it will saturate the tissues. I think it's a very beneficial therapy. It certainly isn't, I consider, like I said earlier, I would never consider oxygen therapy a standalone. I'm like Maya, I'm, I want to hit cancer from every direction all the time. Diet, exercise, nutrition, stress, sleep, sunlight, which Maya is focusing on sunlight, which I'm very happy to see lately. Um, but so that's my spiel. I wanted to keep it short, but I wanted to show you kind of my methodology and how someone might use my resources. So let me give it back to you. I'm also kind of
You're
nervous.
excellent.
It's funny, it still makes me nervous. I've been with you guys for a while now, and it still makes me nervous. how,
You're all right,
No,
man. We
you're awesome.
appreciate
how do I give it back to you? How do I
don't
do?
worry. I'll take it back. I'll take it back. Don't
Okay,
worry.
here we go.
You found it.
Okay,
Perfect.
go.
We always appreciate you, man. You're always welcome here. Your
Yeah,
resources and knowledge are seen and definitely heard and appreciated. And I love that you're on these calls because I learned a thing or two from yourself as I know it goes all directions. So thank you.
thank
I
you,
hope
Excellent.
thank
everyone
you.
enjoyed. I see some hands popping up. Is that on a question about what Harmonious just shared? Or is it a new topic, Irene?
Well, I just want to make a comment. I totally agree with what Harmon said, and it takes a combination. I've had that kind of treatment, but also the diet, sunshine, exercise. But a very major thing in my recovery was forgiveness of an abusive husband, and anger, bitterness, all of that eats away at us. And forgiveness does not excuse abusive behavior, but it frees us of that torment. Our anger and bitterness or hurt feelings or whatever it is doesn't hurt the other person, it only hurts us. So, whether you're a believer in God or whatever you believe in, forgiveness goes across the board, and it's one of the healthy things that we also need to do, in my opinion. I think some of you know I was healed of stage 4 throat cancer, given a few months to live. That's 27 years ago. And at 79, just about, I've got the best energy probably I've ever had, and enthusiasm, and still teaching, starting a podcast. I'm not perfect, but I know forgiveness is very important in a healing.
We absolutely agree, Irene. Thank you very much.
Wonderful additions. I see some hands going up, but before we get to those hands, I'm going to go back to from the
Leonard?
chat. I saw Sharon. Sharon had some HBOT experience and is a certified HBOT technician. So what a wonderful person to have on the call. Thank you for being here, Miss Sharon. Please do enlighten us as to what you're knowledgeable about.
Oh, good evening. I'm very happy to be here. I wanted to comment on what the first person said in regards of the number of treatments and the cost and all of that. I've experienced hyperbaric oxygen therapy with cancer. And I agree, it's definitely not a standalone, but I definitely believe it contributed to my healing. And so much so that I decided to become certified as a technician so I could learn more about it. And it's basically, pressurizing the oxygen to the cell in the chamber. And as far as like the prescription, like uh, I think she said 5 days a week for 3 months. It varies from person to person. The best thing to do, in my opinion, is just to have a visit with a practitioner that is very well experienced in the therapy, like Dr. Jason Saunders, just to name one, because he's like the leading person. And he was my teacher. He wrote a book, Oxygen Under Pressure, where you can get a lot of information, but it varies. And what I did to be able to handle the costs was I actually rented an hyper oxygen HVAC machine and had it at home so that I could use it because I had to use it consecutive days. Generally, I started out with the 1 day a week, and that really wasn't a good prescription. You generally have to do several days, consecutive days, to really get any result. So I find it was more cost effective. I had learned that someone rented the machines, and it was cost effective for me to just rent the machine and use it and return it when I wasn't using it any longer. So, that's basically what I had to say about it. But I do think that it was helpful along with other treatments, other therapies that I experienced as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Excellent
Well, thank
addition.
you
Yep.
very much.
I do know I did hyperbaric too, and I knew there's different types. There's big machines that cannot be really moved around too easily, but there's also uh, almost like collapsible. You zip them up and you could do them. And those are home units, but they definitely don't get to the same pressures as one that's in a clinic where they can adjust everything from the outside. Um, so definitely there's different levels.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's a very good addition, Carl, because not every instance of any modality is the same, right? There are sometimes versions or intensities, and there's always a lot of nuances that go into topics. And we can't necessarily just blanket statement say X therapy is good or bad or anything because there's all these different options or nuances that can alter the efficacy of something. Thank you. So over to if you'd like to grab the mic, Mr. Leonard. He shared some very good information, it seems like, in the chat. So if you'd like to even just read out what he wrote there or expand on it at all, I'll welcome Leonard to the mic if he is able to and willing to grab the mic, and we'll hear from himself.
Thank you very much. I think most of my thoughts I put in the comments, and I agree with everything that's been said. Um,
Yeah, awesome.
Let me know if you have any questions.
You want to read out if you want to just read out the comment so those of our friends that can't see the chat can benefit from the good information.
Sure. I've never heard of hyperbaric used on a daily basis. I think it's very helpful for many things like wound healing. And it's synergistic with many cancer therapies like poly-MVA, dipyridamole, high-dose vitamin C, and oxygen therapies, but oxidating therapies. But I don't think it's very effective as a standalone treatment, it's been said, and it would not be a priority for me if I had cancer unless it was a systematic part of my protocol or I had a particular need for it. Um, a separate thing, I think a good Rife machine is great if used just right for infections. Um, and I think antiparasitic herbs and drugs are great cancer treatments.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much, Leonard. Good to hear your voice behind that big brain of yours. Thank you very much for reading that aloud. This way everyone else can benefit from it. I love when you're on here, and definitely appreciate the share.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it might be fair to mention who Leonard is and what he's doing now. He's now one of the head researchers or for Any Appleseed. Is that correct, Leonard?
Yes, I'm deeply honored to have been nominated ambassador, and I try to be everyone's researcher as best I can.
Yeah, you do great work.
That's fantastic. Yeah, if you catch Leonard at an event in person, he'll have with him these big packets of information on cancer and healing and different methods. Very well thought out, very well presented. Another great wealth of information he is. So definitely an honor to have you here, my friend, and look forward to seeing you at the next conference as well. Um, awesome. Let's go over to Mr. Timothy, I believe, had his hand up next.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. To the best of my knowledge, the Budwig diet will increase cellular oxygen levels, and it's number 2 on my checklist.
Which diet is that?
The
Budwig,
Budwig,
it's basically cottage cheese and flaxseed oil. It's been
yeah,
known to raise
Budwig's
oxygen
been around
levels.
for a while. Yep.
Budwig?
Carl's heard of it.
Yep, absolutely. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
That was like a big deal. I was it a nurse? I forget who got that out and was
Budwig
it?
is the name of the nurse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. She was helping a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that so you exclusively eat cottage cheese and flaxseed oil for some time? Am I
Well,
getting that correct?
you blend it. It's also one of the uh, treatments used by Utopia Cancer Center in Florida. I like them because they've got a lot of uh, therapies that they use that I have books on. So that kind of got my attention when I first ran across them.
Hmm.
But Utopia, the uh, uh, office manager had to learn how to say hello in 22 different languages. So
Wow.
they do some international business too. But the number one thing on my checklist is pH, and of course, that's with
Can
cruciferous.
you guys see the screen or did this get messed up here?
Excuse me.
No, you're sharing.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
somebody brought up Budwig. Somebody's
Yeah.
bringing it up. Yeah, yeah.
German
Uh,
biochemical.
but that's number 2 on my checklist. Number 1 is pH. And then there's the oxygen. Then there's vitamin D deficiencies, toxic teeth with heavy metals, and root canals. And of course, then there's heavy metals and then parasites. That's
Yeah.
about all I got.
Yeah, well, I've
Thank
never
you.
heard of that diet, and maybe some others haven't as well. So thanks for bringing that to the table.
Yeah, there's some books on it, and there's you have to research it on the internet, or you can call Utopia and ask for Mark. But
There we go.
I'll get off now.
Yep.
Awesome.
There's a lot of diets out there and what we've noticed, what we've found over the years is that there's no one absolute pathway. There's the Garrison method. There's all kinds of different diets, and we've been promoting uh, primarily um, vegetarian-based diets for a long time that help balance pH. Maybe there's no scientific proof behind that, but uh, so but we have lots of great results over the years.
Yeah, I think no matter what what diet you want to follow, if that diet excludes, artificial processed garbage, and you're probably gonna be in a
Yeah, right.
better basis than you were previously. So whether you're going, carnivore, ancestral diet or plant-based, whatever, both have worked for different people. Um, Cutting out the crap is is definitely all good with me. Awesome. Let's go over to Jane with her hand up.
Hi. I was really happy when I heard the comment about anger. Anger is one of the things that it's crossed the board with all the cancers. And it's not just anger, it's repressed anger, usually for many years. And, because we all get angry, it doesn't mean that we're going to get cancer. And it's just, of course, the one component. But there's something that I learned through a work that I teach called integrated energy therapy. And where you have 9 cellular memory areas to remove negative energy and put back positive energy. So in the area that takes care of anger, the idea is to remove it and then put forgiveness back. Okay. However, Stephen Thayer, I learned under Stephen Thayer, who created integrated energy therapy. And he said to me, forgiveness comes in 2 different ways. Sometimes, and this is for the health, as you mentioned, of that person who has cancer or doesn't have cancer, just forgiveness process, either to coming to the person and possibly having a conversation if that's possible. But if it's not, the forgiveness process is also letting that person go, kind of let that person go, let God take care of that person, not wish that person any ill will, but not to continue to try and to just have the power to let that go. And I think that's extremely important when we think of forgiveness, because it's not always possible to make a bond of continuing in that relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah. The other thing I would quickly mention on that is what we think, believe, and declare, we create. So it's also important, and I say to doctors today, do not take people's hope away. You tell them they have a few months to live, a lot will believe you, give up hope, and probably pass away. But you can take that as information. If you're a believer, like I just surrendered to God, I said, do whatever you want. And I heard no treatment. So I just listened and did that, but declared daily, I will not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. So we really have to keep hope, and however means we can do that. What we declare is important. We don't ignore the doctor, but we do with what we have peace to do. And that's very important. And the alkaline diet, 80% compared to acidic, is important. All the things we've mentioned are important to be applied. Thank you.
One of the things that you mentioned that I can make a suggestion of is that when a doctor says, here's my prognosis of a couple of months, the only appropriate time, in my estimation, is when the patient is not getting the seriousness of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it becomes a hypnotic suggestion. People say, oh, the doctor said it was 6 months, and isn't that funny? He died in 6 months. So I think we all have a right to say to doctors, which I have done many, many, many times. The biggest person that I was a caregiver was for my husband for many years. And I said to the doctors, when you have a note signed by God, then let me know. Other than that, I don't want to hear it. And the doctors all respected that.
Good.
So I think you have a right to say that. We all have a right to say that, because once you hear the message and then try to undo it, The brain responds if you say, let's say you're in a classroom and you want to tell the kids to be quiet. If you say stop talking, it registers in the brain to stop to talk. So if we have to say, I'm not going to believe that doctor, the brain says, I'm going to believe it. So if you remove the entire thing and say, it is my right for you to take care of me the way I want to.
That's right.
And when you have a note signed by God, let me know. And every single one of the doctors respected it. And I was happily surprised that they said, you know, we've learned over many, many, many years, there are things we do know and things we can't know. And that's also another, I'll just say this briefly, is to choose our doctors. If we have doctors who will not go by our wishes, then we have a right to find a doctor who will work with us the way we need to. So you're in control.
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that addition. Jane put, just to repeat and reiterate what she mentioned, it's a very interesting psychological phenomena that our subconscious does not understand a negative framing of something. It doesn't understand not, it doesn't understand no, or it doesn't understand don't. So this is very fascinating for a lot of different reasons. Not just for our own self-talk and self-speak and self-programming, but also for children as well.
Right.
That's a bit of an aside, but since we're on the topic, if you tell a child, do not put your hand on the stove, it doesn't process. Like, even if they consciously understand the words, or especially if they're just freshly learning language, the abstract of a negative, it doesn't resonate with them. So this calls to attention our word craftsmanship and our word selection and language selection, and being conscious of the words that we use for the greatest possible result. This does require some creativity sometimes in saying, do not put your hand on the stove, or just, I don't know, that example comes to mind. You could say,
Keep
keep
your
your
hands away from the
hands.
stove.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so very, very interesting addition. Jane, our self-talk, our self-speak is very essential. But it's a little more than, what it's a little there's just levels to consciousness and to cognition, and to caring for yourself. So be mindful of these word tricks, and you might find yourself being happier and healthier. So thank you for that addition, Jane.
And you and I did an interview on the Peace Zone, the program I created. And that was an entirely proactive way. And in the classroom and in the school, only positive statements are allowed.
Yep.
There are no negatives. And it works.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jane. And yes, she is alluding to a wonderful interview on my podcast that Jane was featured on. And yeah, it's an interesting listen. If anyone wants to give it a listen, you can contact us and we'll surely send you a link. Thank you very much for those additions, Jane. We're going to go over to Mr. Harmonious Monday again, for I imagine another comment on this new topic, and then over to Maya.
Great. Thank you, Zach. Very quickly, I just want to mention, there's a misconception about Budwig. It is known as the cottage cheese and flaxseed diet, unfortunately. However, it's a protocol, and it was developed by Johanna Budwig, I believe check my facts on this, but around 50 years ago. But I want to stress that it's such a common misconception. It is much more than just this specific cottage cheese and flaxseed oil, which has to do with cellular permeability. There's validity behind that recipe for sure. But she wrote a protocol. She wrote 2 or 3 books. So please, please, if you're going to invest yourself in Budwig, understand it's a comprehensive thing. And with the word comprehensive, I will gladly pass it over to Maya, because to me, Maya is the queen of comprehensive. And that is with the greatest honor. Thank you very much.
I love it. I love it. Over to Maya.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Um, nice touch on the Budwig diet. People just hear about Budwig diet, but they don't know deeper picture of the Budwig diet. That's what I want to bring it up to. First of all, everything matters in terms of what kind of cottage cheese, where the source is coming from. That's one of the biggest things I would say. Getting a cottage cheese that made out of raw milk would be the best way if people are deciding to go with it. But other than that, I would not recommend of using Budwig. And secondly, when it comes to flaxseed or flax oil, it oxidizes with the speed of light. It oxidizes very fast. So unless you squeeze your own flax oil on a daily basis every time when you consume, I would not recommend consuming Budwig diet and using flax oil, buying at the store in a jar, because you don't know how long it stays there, and the oxidative probably stage would be high. And instead of like benefiting your own body, you're gonna add more kind of like, toxins to the body. As someone who were using Budwig diet, at some point I was making my own cottage cheese. I was doing my own flax oil. And there's of course more into the diet, like Harmonious stated. So that's what I want to point out on Budwig diet. And I want to go back to hyperbaric chambers, if I can. Having those therapies 3 to 5 days a week. If you have a stage 4 cancer, yes, maybe. But if you have stage 1 or stage 2, that probably something to consider going less than that. And I know Leonard stated about high dose of vitamin C. Vitamin C may become pro-oxidant. That's mean it can donate an atom to an oxygen and become hydrogen. It can become hydrogen peroxide. That could, how to say this? That could basically benefit the tumor cell in a short version. So it's on that part, you have to work with someone who would understand that and fluctuate the low dose of vitamin C, so it won't convert and it won't go directly into the cancer cells, because it can go into the into tumor microenvironment. So that's on vitamin C. I recommend looking more into that before making any decisions. And about hyperbaric, I know hyperbaric for cancer, you have to go to certain strengths. I think it has to be more than 2.5 AMAs, if I'm not mistaken, if you want to benefit for cancer. If you are, as I said, if you're stage 4, probably going 3 to 5 days, yes. But then again, you have to make sure you're getting a right dose. But if you're stage 1 and 2, I just want people to understand that our body makes those oxygens. Like if our body won't make those oxygens, we're not going to survive in this world. And the way the body makes oxygen, you have to have, like the mitochondria, the cell has to have a collagen, the cell has to have a sulfur. And where are we getting those? We're getting them from food, and we're getting them from, sun, because together the body makes oxygen. So if you can afford, go for it. If you cannot afford, of course, there's so many ways you can implement without spending money for your body to make those oxygens. About pH balance, every part of our body has its own pH. It doesn't matter whether you drink alkaline water or eat alkaline food, which I'm still questioning a lot. Alkaline food, we don't even know where that term of alkaline food came from. Does it really alkaline the body? Because the way our human body built, every organ of our body has its own pH balance. You cannot change that by consuming certain foods and calling them alkaline food, because like blood has its own 7.4. Our stomach has 1.2, 1.3. Kidneys has a different. And if the alkaline level would go off, the body would make sodium bicarbonate to bring the alkaline level either up or down. It all depends. So that's the way our human body works. And drinking, for example, alkaline water, you're actually damaging your stomach acid, because the stomach has to have very low alkaline levels. So therefore, this is such a misleading information when it comes to alkalinity of the body, because the body would alkaline, but it's based on so many different ways, the way the body alkaline itself. It's not only diet. There's a sleep involved. There's like a hydration involved. There's like a sunlight involved. There's so many ways involved in how the body alkaline itself. Different organs differently. As I said, kidneys does its own way. Liver does its own ways. Every organ does its own ways. So I wouldn't waste time on doing on kind of focusing on that. I would rather spend my time learning about diet, about being exposed to the sun. I would spend my time learning how to increase your sulfur intake. What kind of food can increase the sulfur? Because sulfur is very important in so many levels in human body. And so that's what I would focus on probably. I hope I answered the question a little bit. And when you work with a doctor who does hyperbaric chambers, you have to get the list of questions that you can ask and make sure you're getting the level what you need to get.
Got a quick question for you, Maya. Is the opposite true with acidic foods? Like, would you want to avoid them, or?
Acidic foods, you mean like any processed food it does not belong to a human body.
Well, not processed, of course, but anything that might cause acidity rather than.
No, there's so many. It's like our body is so intelligent. There's so many biochemical processes happens because the body tried to come around and balance itself, and it's so hard for us to change that unless we overload with toxins. And when we look into the cancer, we have to understand what could, it depends on the cancer type, of course. You know, there's so many, you cannot just say just the diet was involved in people getting cancer. There's so many things couldn't be involved people getting cancer. Environmental, in some cases, like people live in a city, and unless they move outside of that area, they're not going to get better because the area might cause them a problem. So there's so many ways of looking into the cancer, and that's why I don't like guiding people only in one direction. There's so many ways, like people have to look into that. Yes, you can go for hyperbaric. You can get it for 3 months, you can get it for 5 months, but when you stop, what's going to happen? That's another question. Are you going to get rid of cancer? Yes, we need that oxygen, but the thing is, our body makes that oxygen. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that we have to understand.
Yeah. So Maya, have you seen the food chart of alkaline producing to acidic producing foods, high, low, medium, low, that Susan from Beat Cancer was suggesting? 80% the whole alkaline, 20% acidic, because yes, our stomach is on the acidic side. That I found very, very useful. But it's a combination, and but more on the uh, alkaline than on the acidic. When you have, the cancer, depending on the level of that.
Yeah, I mean, like number one, everyone is different. That's not everybody is different. Yes, I did take the Susan's course, so I'm very familiar with that. Like acidic food, let's say like alcohol, can cause damage to the body and can increase like what is exactly acidity. It's not like your blood cannot go below 7.4. If it's people are not going to make it, they're going to die.
Yeah.
How can you increase the alkalinity in your blood?
Yeah.
It's like taking electrolytes. You cannot increase alkalinity in your blood. It's against it's not against, like it just like you're not physically can do that. Your biological like and chemical process would do that, but like consuming anything, no. So because there's so many ways body like would take from one part and bring it to another part and make it level, make it balanced, because otherwise we would have not survived in this world. And nowadays we've been bombarded with everything, glyphosate, AMF, I mean, like fake lights. There's so many ways our body been exposed to, and that damages our body. And let's say people talking about hyperbaric chambers. Okay, if you go to hyperbaric chambers and then you're laying down there and you're getting your oxygen therapy, but you have like blue lights on the ceiling, are you really getting those like the question is, are you really getting like enough oxygen or proper oxygen into your body? Just because you hooked up to the machine doesn't mean that you're going to get that level of oxygen in your body. So everything matters. You have to be in an environment that would support you completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that addition, Maya. Definitely earning that name of the Queen of Comprehension, or Queen of Comprehensiveness, or something like that. For now on, hold on. Everyone look at Maya's screen here. Let me do something. Boom. Bam. She is now the Queen of Comprehensive.
I by the way, I have the rights. I claim the rights to that. That is my. You better attribute that to me, my friend.
Here, a
I'm,
spotlight
I'm
for
just
everyone to see. Give it up.
I'm
Give it up.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Uh, having fun, having fun. Awesome. Well, that does bring us to 4 minutes past the hour. I did see another question came in the chat. However, that's a pretty quick question. Someone asked, "What is multiple myeloma?" So we can answer that pretty quickly with a quick online search. Multiple myeloma is a type of blood cancer that affects plasma cells, which are white blood cells that produce antibodies. Again, just because I'm doing this doesn't mean you should just Google everything and take it as truth. But for something as such an easy question like this, there are a lot of resources on Google probably that can give you an overall understanding of it. And we're very glad to discuss more particular questions at any time. I'm going to go ahead and check out BeatCancer.org because we have a search feature as well where you can search through our many blog articles, etc. at the same time. So let's see what we get here. Myeloma, man. Let's see. So
Yeah,
none of these specifically are about multiple myeloma.
it might
But
be mentioned within the article, and sometimes the classifications get mixed up with our woman in the Philippines.
True. So, again, just highlighting either way that there's a search feature of BeatCancer.org, where you can look for some curated resources other than Google. Not that there's not wonderful things on Google, all the same as there is some silliness. So, yeah, that's a recommendation. If anyone has any quick thoughts on multiple myeloma that they'd like to share for Mr. David in the chat, we will hold the mic open for a few minutes here, and then we will wrap it up and end the meeting shortly. I see a hand from Miss Angela.
Um, in the initial discussion, you were going to call on Sharon Clements. She has.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you did?
Yep, she
Yep.
spoke up as a hyperbaric oxygen therapy
Oh,
experiencer and
huh.
and practitioner. So she did share. But thank you for looking out for others. That's really wonderful.
I missed out on that. Thank
Well,
you.
luckily for
It'll
you,
be-
these calls are recorded, so you can catch it.
On the website? Is it on the
Okay,
website?
yes, you can. I will give you a quick screen share again, because this is good information for everybody as well. Right here on the weekly call page of Beat Cancer, there is, if you scroll down, a link to our YouTube playlist. Now, this does have to get updated a little bit to include some of the more recent ones, but you can always go over to our social media and catch them.
Background noise.
What?
If other people are talking, use the
Oh,
raise hand.
the video's playing, and I thought you were talking now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious. But yes, on our YouTube, there is a playlist where we put all of them. Sometimes we get banned on YouTube, so you can check out some of our other social medias like Facebook and catch them there. So we have redundancies in place so that we cannot
Yep.
be stopped. So
Rumble.
as you see, this
Rumble.
one's here right now. Yes, rumble.com is wonderful. If you're not familiar with rumble.com, imagine YouTube, but they don't censor you nearly as much. And they value free speech. So do support your good friends over at Rumble. Let's see, here's some of our short form video, which I didn't know was going there.
You'll look under love it, maybe.
There we go.
There it is.
Look at all these weekly calls. None of them get deleted. They all go up there, unlike YouTube, which censors the really good stuff. So do check out rumble.com. And yeah, search for the Beat Cancer answer. So there you go. I forget who was just talking about. Oh, it's Angela.
Can I
But
just like go back very quick on the multiple myeloma, just explain what it is?
yes, please do. Please
Go
do.
ahead.
Since there's a question, multiple myeloma is basically when the body produces abnormal amount of certain proteins, abnormal antibodies that called M proteins. And that's what the name is like. I mean, that's why it's called multiple myeloma. And then the way it checks either by doing bone marrow puncture or, checking the blood with IgGMs. In the blood, if it's high, then it might be, it might cause multiple myeloma. I mean, it might be one of the reasons people get high level of IgGM or M proteins. That's what I know. I'm working with a client actually who has a multiple myeloma. We're doing many different things, and there's there's the things to look into that with a multiple myeloma.
Yep. Thank you very much, Maya. Yeah, if our friend wants to come next week with some more questions on the topic, we'll be glad to dive a little deeper to the best of our abilities. But for now, that does wrap up our session. Thank you everyone for participating, both our wonderful coaches, our wonderful regular guests, and guests of new, all the same. We had another information-packed session, a lot of very fascinating topics and some deep dives on the topics that we covered. A lot of links shared in the chat. So if you are not catching these on the call, on the Zoom, you definitely are missing out on that chat section loaded with some extra information and links. As a reminder, all of anyone is welcome to join us on the Zoom itself. We are here same time, same place every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the same Zoom link. So we know it's some people have different schedules or different parts of the world. It might be the middle of the night for you. I don't know. But this is where we are and where you can find us. So we do hope you've enjoyed the call, whether you're here with us now or watching the replay. As a reminder, BeatCancer.org is a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in the United States, but helping people worldwide. So if you do feel so called to support the organization and help us make it possible to continue bringing you these calls and bringing you all the other resources that we do provide, please do explore our website and check out our ways to give page. There are a lot of very easy and you know interesting ways to get involved and to help us provide the support that we do to patients worldwide. Whether that's if you have the means to give yourself, that's fantastic. Or if you just want to help us spread the word, you can start a fundraiser and encourage others to help us, keep making this possible. That's about it for tonight. Next week is another very special edition of The Call, hosted in part or together with our friends over at the Annie Appleseed Project. Um, so you don't want to miss it. They always bring an interesting additional perspective to the call. So yeah, we do those the third Thursday of each month. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to seeing you next week. We hope you got some value out of the call. I'm Zachariah Frank, COO of BeatCancer.org, signing it off to Carl for any closing remarks, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, Zach, for bringing up the fundraising opportunity that we have now. It's very much like GoFundMe. You can just set one up. It's very easy, and throw it into your social medias. Ask for donations in lieu of gifts for your birthday, things like that. So that would be very, very helpful for us. It keeps the lights on. And thank you for bringing that up, Zach. And thank you all for being here tonight. Loved all the topics. Hopefully, YouTube won't get mad at us because some great stuff was talked about, and I'm sure they'll hear some keywords in there, and they'll be like, "Wait a minute." So catch us on Rumble then. All right, thank you all.
Have a wonderful evening, everybody. We'll